Welcome to Checkpoint. Yeah, I'm really excited to be with you again. It's your host, Dr. Ifeoma Eze, and I'm here with another episode of Checkpoint for you. I'd like to start by saying thank you, and thank you again for all that you do for us here at Checkpoint. Thank you for liking our messages. Thank you for sharing our messages. Thank you for your beautiful comments, and thank you most importantly for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Now, because of all that you do, our message is reaching a wider audience, and for this I am very grateful. Now you know how we roll at Checkpoint. Before I go into the episode for today, I'd like you to share. Share this link to everyone that you know. Share to your friends, your relations, your associates, and your neighbors. Tell them it is time for Checkpoint. And remember, always at Checkpoint, we bring you stuff that edify, empower, and equip you to become the very best version of yourself. So please go ahead and share this link everywhere. And I'll be right back after the break with today's topic. Don't go anywhere. Back to Checkpoint. Now today on Checkpoint, our topic today is learned helplessness. How you can overcome learned helplessness. I don't know how many of you have heard about this concept of learned helplessness. Somebody will be like, what is learned helplessness? Now I like to start by saying that learned helplessness is something is a psychological condition, but this was really researched a lot by two men, Martin Seligman and Stephen Meyer. Now these two really researched a lot about what learned helplessness is all about. So learned helplessness is a psychological phenomenon where individuals believe that they have no control over their circumstances anymore. Even when opportunities present itself for the circumstances to change, they do not believe that change is available. They do not believe that they can overcome that change. It's a mindset that often keeps people in a particular situation. It develops as a result of repeated failure. It develops as a result of repeated exposure to circumstances or situations, and that where the outcomes eventually result in failure. Let me give you an example. I like to break this down. So learned helplessness, remember I said number one, it is a psychological phenomenon. And this happens to individuals where they feel like they are not capable of escaping a particular situation. They are not capable of scaling through a particular condition. They are not capable of having outcomes that are not failures. So when this happens, such individuals choose not to make efforts because they believe that irrespective of their efforts, their outcomes will certainly not change. I'm going to break this thing down by sharing with you examples of how this happens in real life. So learned helplessness makes individuals to feel powerless. Like, no matter what I do, I'll remain where I am. No matter what happens in my life, I will not get beyond this point. No matter how hard I try, I cannot pass these exams. No matter how hard I take all my pills, I follow the principles and the routines, I will not be able to get pregnant and have my child. So learned helplessness is a psychological phenomenon. It does happen to everybody in one area or the other. But the thing is that it does not happen to every one of us in a singular area, because it can affect every aspect of life. For some, it happens to them in their relationships. They don't believe that they would ever be in a relationship where they are loved and where they actually love the person. For some others, it happens in their academics where they feel like they are not capable of learning anymore. All right, they are not capable of passing exams. They feel like, because I wrote the first exam and I failed, I wrote it again and I failed, I wrote it again and I failed, I must be a perpetual failure. It can also happen in their career, where they feel like they can no longer get promoted no matter how much they try. All of this culminates in making the individual to feel very powerless. It makes them to feel tired of trying, and they even resign, even when there is a chance, even when there is a possibility that they may be able to scale through, even when there are opportunities that arise that make it possible for them to succeed. They are no longer willing to try because they feel they have failed so many times in the past. Do you know that conditions like this are very much linked to anxiety, depression, and they become they give up on life. They practically give up on trying because they feel they have tried in the past, they have tried too much, and they don't want to try anymore. I don't know about you, I don't know who you are or how the experiences you've had, but there might be in one area or two areas or three areas where you practice this psychological phenomenon called learned helplessness. Now, to break it down and bring it back home, imagine for 1 minute that there is a goat you have at home. So you maybe tie this goat to a particular tree, and this goat is tied to the tree so much that no matter how much this goat tries to move, this goat cannot move beyond a certain angle. Now, you keep giving the goat food in that within that particular angle or within that particular circumference. Now, because that goat is tied to a tree, that goat can only move around a particular circumference. That goat cannot move very far away from it. But then see what happens over time. After a long time, this goat has tried to move beyond this circumference, but it cannot move beyond that. So this particular goat, even though you drop a food for this goat outside that same circumference, and this goat is not tied to the tree, what happens is that this goat may not even make any move to get to that particular point to get the food, even though it is no longer restricted. So this happened in human beings, and these two men observed it. Stephen Meyer and Martin Seligman, both of them observed this in dogs. And in that experiment, what they did, that's the learned helplessness experiment, is a research they conducted. And what they did was that they put 3 different dogs in 3 different boxes. And in the first one, they made the dogs to have ability to control their situation. So there was something that was supposed to shock them, but the moment they pressed a lever, the shock ceases. But in another one, the shock kept coming irrespective of what they did or not. No matter what they did, the shock kept coming. And in the other box, there was no shock at all. Now, they observed these 3 sets of dogs. After a while, what they did was that they brought all the 3 dogs together in the same place, under the same circumstances. The ones who didn't know that there was even anything that can stop just went ahead and crossed the lever without even bothering. The other ones who had clicked on a particular button and the shock stopped, kept clicking on it so that they can pass, and they also went through. Now, the ones who were in the same situation, who no matter what they did, they couldn't escape, you know what they did? They remained there. Even though they saw other dogs escaping, they remained in that same situation because they felt like no matter what they did, it was not going to make any difference. Many of us, like these animals too, have learned in our lives, maybe because of repeated failures, maybe because of the situations we have gone through, maybe because of several efforts that have not resulted in the expected outcomes. We have just resigned to fate. We have just come to this condition where we believe that everything that is happening to us cannot be stopped. That is already our destiny. Have you heard people say, oh, no matter what I do, everybody in my family, they are failures. No matter what I do, this is the story of my life. My grandfather before my father and myself, it seems like we are all working on the same pattern, and no matter how hard we try, the same thing is going to keep repeating itself. That is the situation of learned helplessness. It makes individuals to just make up their mind that they have no control over the circumstances in their lives. Even when opportunities to change is available, they choose not to change because they believe that no matter what they do, they are going to end up at the same outcome. Now, this mindset develops because they have had repeated exposure to circumstances that are not pleasant, to circumstances that make them unhappy, to circumstances that create problems for them. So it's a situation, and I want you to come to relate with me on this program. Let me know in the comment section, do you understand my definition of learned helplessness? Have you experienced it maybe in your life, in the life of an uncle or an auntie or a father or a mother, a brother or a sister? Is there somebody in your family that you think this person has resigned to fate? They believe that because they have no control over what's going to happen, they don't even want to try anymore. They have resigned to fate. They believe that nothing can be done to improve their circumstances, and they just want to accept life the way it is. Remember, I said that it was two psychologists that came across this research and they worked on it, Martin Seligman and Stephen Meyer. Now, I'd like to share with you some basic characteristics of learned helplessness. How do you know that you are already suffering from this situation called learned helplessness? Number one is that you already develop a passive behavior. So a passive behavior occurs when you have given up on that situation, you have given up on that experience, even when success is possible, even when a different or a better outcome is possible. You have just, in that situation, you have completely given up. And this creates passive behavior. It creates some passive behavior in your attitude. So you just tell yourself, I've given up. Oh, whatever will be will be. It is people who already have this learned helplessness that will tell you, oh, kill Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, a future we cannot tell. So they believe that no matter what they do, the future is already cast in stone and nothing else can be done about it. That's the first characteristics of learned behavior. The second characteristics of learned behavior is what we call low self-efficacy. Low self-efficacy. At this point, this person believes that they do not have control over their outcome. So it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter how hard they struggle, it doesn't matter how well they read, they believe they will still fail at the end of the day. Some even go into relationships believing that once this person gets to know me, once we begin to relate, this person will eventually break my heart or leave me in the relationship. They already made up their mind that there's no need to try, there's no need to even make any effort, because at the end of the day, it will still result in the same circumstances that has been repeated so many times. That's the second characteristic of learned behavior. Now, the third characteristic of learned behavior is what we call avoidance of challenges. What is life without challenges? Challenges make life interesting. Challenges bring variety to life, and when there are no challenges, life will be so boring. Now, when somebody has already developed this learned helplessness, what happens is that they avoid tasks or decisions because they already have the fear of failure. They already believe in their heart that no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, I am already going to be a failure. So in their mind, they are not willing to engage in tasks. They're not willing to engage in any assignment or decision that would challenge them in any way. So they're not willing to engage in any challenge. They have already made up their minds that no matter what happens, there is failure waiting for me at the end of the road or at the end of the situation, and that will cause them to remain in this situation called learned helplessness. Number four characteristic of learned helplessness is negative thinking. Negative thinking is so much associated with learned helplessness because when somebody is already feeling helpless, certainly there is no positivity in it. They do not think positively. They're only thinking about their limitations. They already have mental barriers. They believe that they cannot do anything. They have this feelings of pessimism. All right, optimism is so far from them. They have these feelings of inadequacy. I'm not enough. I am not capable. I am not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not smart enough. I am not desired. I am not loved. These negative thinking patterns is very dominant in a person who has this situation called learned helplessness. Remember, we said that learned helplessness is a psychological phenomenon that usually happens to individuals when they have tried to do something, or when they have tried in certain situations over time. They make up their mind, they give up on the situation, even though that there is a possibility of success in that same situation. But they make up their mind that, well, we have tried over time and it's not working, and because it's not working, it can no longer work. So this is the mindset of somebody who has learned helplessness. Now, this learned helplessness can affect more than one area of your life. It can affect more than two areas of your life. But there are people who have overcome it. They already believe that, this one, I am good at this, I can achieve this, and this will greatly announce me to my generation. So which category do you belong to? Have you experienced it? Do you think it's something that has affected you or affected somebody who is close to you? Let me know in the comment section. Type right now so that I can connect with you. All right, so let me show you quick ways that you can use to overcome learned helplessness. So when I say quick ways, I'm not saying that it's going to be like you snap a finger and it's all over. Remember that this situation took time to develop, right? It happened because of a series of different situations. It happened because of a series of repeated situations in your life that did not result in the outcome that is expected. And as a result of that, this person has developed a belief that things can never be better. I cannot pass this, I cannot excel at this, I cannot achieve this. So let me share with you the ways through which you can overcome learned helplessness. Number one way through which you can overcome learned helplessness is that you have to recognize the pattern. It didn't start in one day, right? It didn't start at one time, right? It was something that has been happening in your life. So you need to sit back and acknowledge the feelings of helplessness. Acknowledge the areas where you have been helpless. Identify the situations where you have felt like you were so stuck that you could not get yourself free from. If you need to journal it, if you need to write it down and pinpoint the triggers that usually take you to that point of learned helplessness. All right, for you it might be different, for me it can be different. Somebody who has lost so many members from their family could also have this kind of learned helplessness, which means that your loved one gets sick, you made up your mind, everyone who got sick in this family eventually died. So because of that, I'm not going to make any effort. No matter what I do, no matter how much I spend, this person is eventually going to die. You need to sit down and recognize the pattern. And because if you are going to challenge this pattern, you have to recognize it first. You have to identify them first. So if it helps you to write it down, please go ahead and write them down. If it helps you to understand at what point did you begin to feel that this will continue, so write them down and take note of them and mark them so that it will help you to identify these triggers and deal with them. Number two way through which you can overcome learned helplessness is that you have to challenge the negative beliefs. You see, all these negative beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I will fail, I will not make it, I cannot learn. You have to challenge these negative beliefs and you have to replace them. All right, you have to replace them intentionally. So instead of I will fail, you say I will succeed. Instead of I can't, you say I can. Instead of I will not succeed, you say I can succeed. Instead of I can't learn it, all right, I failed, then you really can. I remember my second son, when he was really a small child, he was about 4 years going to 5. He had this very terrible teacher. This teacher told him that he could not read and he could not write, but since he could talk well, that he should just focus on being a preacher like his father. And my son, no matter how much we tried to help him get his times tables, he couldn't do that. His multiplication table, we struggled over and over again. One day he just said to me, Mom, just let me be a preacher like my dad. I can talk and that's fine. I cannot read, I cannot write, and that is okay. I told him, who told you you cannot read, you cannot write? He said, my teacher told me. So it now made sense that we're trying to make this boy understand his mathematical table, his multiplication tables. It wasn't working. We were trying to make him read out letters. It was not working because in his mind, he has been told that he cannot read, he cannot write. And he made up his mind that that was true. It took us a while because we started talking to him. I started talking to him. I told him that that teacher was a liar. I told him that he was capable of making his own decisions. He was going to decide what his life was going to be, and no teacher was going to decide it. Any small effort he made in the right direction, I celebrated it. You know, I got excited. I told him, "Whoa, go, come on, boy, you did this and you can do it again." Today, he is a pride of a son. I call him my first class son because his results are impeccable. Somebody that has CGPA of 4.7 in university is not a joke at all. But this was the same boy that was said he cannot read, he cannot write. I don't know who has spoken to you. I don't know who has told you the things you cannot do. I don't know who has told you that you're not capable. You're not capable of making decisions. I don't know who has looked at you and assumed that your brain is fish brain. Like you cannot think for yourself. Like you cannot do anything valuable. Like you cannot make money. Some have looked at you and told you that you amount to nothing. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. It doesn't matter who is telling you what. What matters is what are you telling yourself? After they have talked down on you, after they have looked down on you, after they have told you that you have nothing, you are a poor person, you will not amount to anything, you don't have sense, you don't, after they have told you all of that, what are you telling yourself? Because what matters is not what people told you. What matters is what are you telling yourself? Because what you tell yourself is what stays. Goliath looked at David and told him, "Look at this small boy. What did you come here to do? I am a giant killer. I am a killer of giants. You know, I am a warrior, an experienced warrior." He said, I'll kill you and destroy you." And this boy said, "Don't worry. I have killed the lion in the bush. I have killed the bear in the bush. The same way, I will also destroy you." That's what David said to him. It doesn't matter what anybody is saying to you. It doesn't matter how their conclusion about you. Their opinion about you does not even matter. What matters is this: what are you saying to yourself? Because if you don't challenge those negative beliefs, if you don't stand up against them, you will not be able to get ahead in life. So number 3 thing you have to do is that you have to set small and achievable goals. It is true that you want to go from point A down to point Z and get it right, but you have to start small, which means if you have been battling with this issue of learned helplessness, you have to set small, achievable tasks. So what are you supposed to do? You have to break down your activities. You have to break down your tasks into manageable steps and create a sense of accomplishment. So when you get from A to B, you clap for yourself, hooray. You get from B to C, you celebrate yourself. These are your small wins. You take them seriously. You celebrate your small victories and use them to rebuild your confidence. So that way you know that, well, I am no longer where I used to be. I'm no longer who I used to be. I have stepped out from that region, you know, and something happens in your mind the moment you have taken one step further. Assuming that you are a runner and you're a sports person, so you engage in races, and then a particular race, it has been said that nobody has broken this record before. So in 4 minutes you're supposed to maybe run 200 meters, and then even if you reduce your own by just 1 second or by 5 seconds, celebrate that. Celebrate your small victories. If you used to have 40 every time you write an exam, 40 over 100, and you always failed it every time, 40 over 100, and this time around you had 50, celebrate your small victory. Tell yourself that you're actually not a failure. If you could get past that level, it means that there is hope for you to actually get much more. What is the difference between 50 and 70, right? So if you could get out from 40 to 50, you can also move from 50 to 60, and you can move from 60 to 70. So celebrate your little wins and break those tasks into manageable steps so that you'll be able to create a sense of accomplishment when you've been able to scale through that particular point. Is that all right? Okay, so let me share with you number 4. Number 4 way through which you can overcome learned helplessness is that you have to practice problem solving skills. Problem solving skills is a skill that is so necessary for every living person. You need to be able to sit down and think up ways through which you can solve problems. You know, you are not rewarded for the problems you identified, but rather you are rewarded for the problems you solved. You are not rewarded for the problems you talked about, you are rewarded for the problems you have solved. So you have to learn how to approach your challenges methodically, all right, in a way that you are able to identify these solutions. You are also able to consider the pros and the cons and take better decisions. So sit back and ask yourself, if this has been a recurring pattern in my family, what do I have to do differently to make sure that I don't end in this same state? Assuming that you are somebody who you've been trying to get married and you've been talking to ladies, and every time they get to turn you down, every lady you talk to gets to turn you down, you need to sit down and ask yourself, why are they turning me down? What is their most frequent complaint about me? Who do I need to talk to that would give me the right coaching, the right skills, the right tool, the right skill set for me to be able to be successful in relationships? So it's all a possibility. All you have to do is you have to be intentional about it. You have to practice it. So it is commonly said that it is only a fool that keeps repeating the same thing and expects a different result. If you want a different result, what do? You do something different, because something different will give you a result that is equally different. Is that okay? So today, make up your mind. Practice problem solving. Think about the solutions that you want to implement in your life, in your education, in your relationship, in your career. Think about that solution and then practice it. If you're somebody who is always angry, maybe your grandfather was a very angry person, hot-tempered, your dad is also hot-tempered, and you're hot-tempered, just tell yourself the truth. I know, instead of sitting back and say, oh, everybody in my family is hot-tempered, this is how we are in this family, we are always angry people. You can choose to be different. You can make up your mind. Instead of resigning to learn helplessness, you can tell yourself that you want to do better because you know better, and because of that you have to add in some anger management skills, some anger management principles that will help you to do better, because now you know better. All right, let's talk about number 5 way through which you can overcome learn helplessness is that you have to seek support. Sometimes our strength is not enough. You have to seek support. You have to look for other people who know how to overcome this problem. You have to look for other people who are able to give you the necessary supports that you need. You could talk to friends, you could talk to family members, you could talk to mentors, you could talk to spiritual leaders for mentorship, for encouragement, for a different perspective, because when they begin to help you and assist you, you see that it helps you to develop accountability, and then you begin to see some checks and some balances in the way you behave. So you could even consider therapy or counseling, especially if it is linked to trauma or depression or a family cycle. So please, whatever it is, make sure that you seek support. We cannot handle all of these things alone. We are not created to handle all our burdens alone. You may have learned these things maybe from your parents or from your family, and you've seen how this thing works, but you want to do better. That means you need support. There's a friend that might stick closer than a brother. There is a family member that might help you, that might stand with you. All right, they'll be willing to tell you the truth and tell you, oh, this is good, this is not good, and they will help you to shape yourself and do better. So seek support. Seek support. The whole world does not need to know your story, but there are people that you must have in your corner who must know what you are going through, and they should be also willing to help you and to assist you. Is that okay? Yeah, that's so important. Make sure that you seek support and you don't try to do it all by yourself. All right, let's talk about number 6 way through which you can overcome learn helplessness is that you have to develop resilience through positive experiences. You have to make up your mind, no matter what is happening, no matter what is doing, I am going to insist that I must do what is right for me, especially in the area of breaking away from this learned helplessness. Engage in activities that you enjoy, engage in activities that you are good at. Surround yourself with people who are positive, people who are supportive, people who have very good influences in your life, and insist that a positive attitude will be your way going forward. So you have to develop resilience. You have to make up your mind that this situation will not be the end of you. When learned helplessness happens, there is this tendency to just resign to faith. There's this tendency to just resign to fate. You believe that nothing else can be done. There's nothing more I can do. It's not my fault. Something happened to me. In fact, there is somebody I know, over the years. Do you know why he will not do anything for his life? He said that somebody used witchcraft. That he was told that somebody used witchcraft on him, and told him that he will not be able to amount to nothing. So because of that, he's no longer making any effort at life. He's no longer making any effort whatsoever, because in his mind, no matter what he does, that witchcraft spell is already on him. He will not be able to go to school. He will not be able to advance his education. He will not be able to get married. He will not be able to do anything. Things like this are not good for you. Develop resilience. Ask yourself, who said that I will not make it? Who said that I will not become better? Who said that I will not accomplish my goals? Who said that I will not become what I'm supposed to be? Who said it? Who said it? Make up your mind. Engage resilience. Engage perseverance. Tell yourself, I'm not giving up. You know that learned helplessness usually happens when people give up. Tell yourself you cannot give up. You're going to push again. You're going to try again. You're going to knock again. You're going to dig again. Anything you need to do, you need to do it again, and trust that you will achieve the results that you already want this time. So engage resilience. Develop resilience, and that is very, very apt. So number 7 way through which you can overcome resilience is that you have to learn relaxation techniques. Learn relaxation techniques. It is true that somebody who already has learned helplessness is already relaxing to faith. But you see, sometimes stress management strategies can actually help you to break free from this learned helplessness, simply because you have tried. You have done it over and over again. You don't believe that you can do it anymore. But engage stress management principles like deep breathing. You have to make sure that you engage in meditation, all right, and mindfulness. All of these things can help you to feel like you are more in control of your life, because learned helplessness makes you feel like you're not in control, and you're already stressed out about it. You're already tired about it. You're already giving up on it. But when you practice this meditation, and mindfulness, they can help you to feel like you are in control of your mind. You are in control of your destiny. These things will help to put you in the right shape and in the right perspective to be able to break free from this situation of learned helplessness. So relax, breathe in and breathe out. Can we practice one now? All right, everybody, let's go. Breathe in, hold it, and exhale. How do you feel? Let's do it one more time. Let's breathe in. 1 to go. Breathe in. Exhale. When you practice these deep breathing exercises for a while, sometimes you can hold it for as long as a minute. When you do these things, you see that it will help you to be more in control. You feel like you are more in control, like life is not happening to you, you are happening to life. You get it? All right, so let's talk about number 8 way through which you can overcome learned helplessness, is that you have to educate yourself about past successes. Educate yourself. Reflect on the instances where you were able to overcome adversity, and ask yourself, what did I do differently? All right, how did I achieve this? Even if the success looks like a minor success, even if the success does not look incredibly big, please remind yourself that you won. Remind yourself that you succeeded. Remind yourself that you achieved it, and ask yourself, how was I able to do it? Educate yourself. on your own past successes, on the successes of other people, and tell yourself that this will help you to know that you can still make it irrespective of what comes your way. So when you begin to educate yourself on your past successes, what it does for you is that it reinforces your ability to influence your outcomes. You tell yourself, okay, I noticed I read better for this last exam, and because I read better, because I started a study group and I had other people I could ask questions during the study, and that really helped me in the exam, you now know that your outcomes did not just happen all by themselves. You influenced that outcome. You were in control. You did something decisive that gave you the outcome that you wanted. So when you do this and you begin to reclaim, you begin to do this, you begin to reclaim this sense of being in control over your life. You begin to reclaim this sense of being in charge. You can now tell yourself that, well, all I need to do is just to build up my confidence in myself, to tell myself that I can actually set out to do a thing and I'll be able to achieve it. It is very, very possible to overcome learned helplessness. Sometimes you may see yourself struggling with it. Sometimes, and the unfortunate thing is that the greatest battle of learned helplessness happens right here, up here, in your mind. So if the battle can be won there, the battle can be won physically in your life. If the battle can be won in your mind, the battle can be won in your life. So if you are willing to take on this journey, please let me know in the comment section. Go and try again, go and push again, go and fight again, go and press again. This time around you are going to win. And who said that you are not going to win? Who said that you cannot become all that God has made you to be? God has given you a bright and wonderful destiny. He has given you a bright and wonderful and glorious destiny, and don't allow anybody to talk down on you. See, definition can only come from God. Your definition can only come from God. Whatever anybody has to say is their opinion, and their opinion is not God's definition about you. I am seriously rooting for you, and I know that by the time you have listened and watched this entire video, you will get back on your feet, and you will go back to that same thing that looks like this is the end of the story. You will go back to that exam and write it again. You go back to that business and try it again. You go back to that career and build up again. You go back to relationships and try relationships again. Somebody who will love you, somebody who will appreciate you, somebody who will value you will certainly come your way. It is not time for you to give up on yourself. It's possible that your first business was a failure. You are not that failure. Go back and do another business. It could even be that one. Go and try again, and this time around you're certainly going to come out with outstanding results. I am rooting for you, and I believe so much in my heart that you are overcoming learned helplessness by the merciful hand of God. Now, this is all I wanted to share with you today on Checkpoint. I hope you were very edified, and I hope you were very empowered to take on the next step and achieve your success. Until I come your way again, keep making a positive, indelible mark in the lives of people and on the sands of time. I love you so very much. Bye bye for now. Mwah. Hi everyone, I hope you were blessed by that message. All right, so I want you to just go ahead and support us. If you are led, go ahead and just sow into the account right on the screen. And I know that as you do that, God will bless you big time. Because of the seeds you are sowing, you will be able to reach a wider audience on different platforms. So please do well to sow that seed, and God will bless you. Love you.